Welcome back to another episode of the PD Pick'ems podcast. I'm your host, Pete Paguaga, and as always, I am joined by Sean Patrick Bowley. And after the week that we had, I would have thought that they would have taken this show away from us, Sean.
Yeah, we should be canceled.
We should be. We should be canceled for our picks.
Like I said last week, if we don't do well in this, man, we should be shown the door. The Nielsen rating should be tanking. Like, who are these guys, and what do they know?
It was not great. I mean, Sean, you went 5-5. At least you salvaged the 500 record. I went 3-7.
Yeah.
I came in last. I came in last place.
Worst case scenario, Pete said I could tank, and sure enough, he tanked.
I got way too cocky.
Doesn't help that kids are hitting 42 yards to beat you. That's just.
Yeah, I know. I felt that gut punch. I was really impressed by that kick, but also I was kind of pissed, being like, oh man, there goes that. Southington was leading. Oh no, Staples came all the way back. Windsor wasn't even in it in the second half. And then at least I was like, well, at least I got Masuk. Oh no, just kidding. Bloomfield's going to score 24 straight points to beat them. Gut punch after gut punch. And then I'm getting chirped at by Kevin Sullivan. Listen to the Meat Grinder if you haven't. Kevin Sullivan texted us on Friday, quoting me to myself when I said on this show that I think Morgan winning or MSW winning would be a better story. And my heart says to go with Morgan, but I went with Capital Prep. And he texted me saying, hey, you probably should have gone with your heart. So 5 instances.
I didn't know what he was talking about.
Do you listen on this show?
Hey, once we finish recording, man, that's it. I lived it. I don't need to listen again.
So
not like you guys all do.
Just 5 games, 5 instances where I just got gut punched, and deservedly so. I'm in last place. Big shout out. We talked about the two of them last week. Will Oldham went 9-1. Shout out Will. What a great recovery. That was a key week. And then Meyer Lee goes 7-3, ties with Carl, who also went 7-3. The 3 new guys, 3 new this year, finished with the top 3 spots. They get them back into contention. Okay, from first place overall, where it's Sean Barker and Dan Brecklin at 18-11. They're only separated by 5 games down at the bottom, which is Chris McNamee, a former champion, sitting at 13-16. You're in third. You're only a game back, Sean. So this bad week it didn't bury you. I kind of fell from the top spot. I'm only 2 back, but I'm in 6th at 16-13. So we both need much better weeks coming up. And I'll be honest with you, this slate, not super easy.
Can I just say, I think, just for anyone out there, the fact that the 2 bosses are in first place, that's not by accident. You got to make sure that they feel good. We got to make sure that they, it's like that scene in Mr. Mom where he has to tank the, what's his name? Michael Keaton needs to tank the race so Martin Mull could beat him, so his wife doesn't get fired. That's exactly where it's going.
Well, I will give credit. Sean Barker reads every story.
Oh yeah, so. He does indeed. Tough week though, Pete. This is a hard. It's not like the Alliance week where they're built in, exciting games.
All right, we're gonna start up at the CCC. We got 2 playoff teams from a year ago, both kind of going different ways right now. We got 0-3 Wethersfield, traveling to Sage Park to play the 2-1 Redcoats, coming off a pretty big win against Bunnell. You look at Wethersfield's schedule, 0-3. Then you look at who they played. Hall, good program, was beating Windsor at halftime. Southington, one of the best teams in the state. And then they played Shelton. I mean, that is not an easy schedule for Matt McKinnon and the boys. They beat Bunnell last week, and they lost to Wilton in the opener. I don't think we knew what was going to go on with Berlin. They got a lot of good dudes, Lavender, Santos, Morales, Melville, just like last year. On the other side with Wethersfield, Cam Regi, one of the better players in the state, one of the better athletes, but Wethersfield still doesn't have a win. Sean, does Wethersfield get their first win this week?
I think they're going to be competitive, Pete, but I can't discount that Berlin victory over Bunnell. That was pretty impressive. Bunnell, which beat Hand. I mean, this is the transitive property week. With Bunnell beat Hand, which beat Fairfield Prep. So you're thinking Bunnell's going to beat Berlin. No, incorrect. Berlin thumps them. So Melville's great. Like Lavender. It's a good team. And Wethersfield, I think, will be competitive. I would be shocked if they win the game. Wouldn't be shocked. But I think I think Berlin's got I think Berlin's the better team. I'm going to go with the Red Coats.
There's a little bit of me that wants to get freaky, get a little crazy here.
Yeah, you went freaky last week, Pete.
And picked Wethersfield, but they're both playing a tier 2 schedule. I just think Wethersfield has played better teams. I really do. But Berlin has shown that they can beat these good teams like they did when they went out and beat Bunnell, who we will hear from later on this show. So I'm going to go with the Redcoats as well. All right. We're going to jump down. We got 2 CTC games on the schedule this week.
All
right.
My favorite. I did it with those last week. Speaking of hearing from coaches, I heard from Derek Lewis. LOLing me, their 12-7 win or 13-7 win.
Well, you might hear from him again, because the next game up is Bullard Haven's Kolbe Cathedral. They're 2-1. They're going to Nanawag to play the CTC's Northwest United, who is 3-0. Now, the Workhorses come in with the longest regular season win streak in the state, 15-game win streak in the regular season. And they've been on fire. I mean, Northwest United has been literally on fire. Ben Roden, the quarterback. Yeah, he has 13 touchdown passes in 3 games. That's for my math people. That's over 4 a game. Do a little math here. That's on pace for 40 touchdown passes in a season. I mean, I don't care what conference you play in. 40 touchdowns is pretty incredible. And they have 4 different receivers with 3 touchdown receptions. They're playing host, like I said, to Bullard Havens. Stanley St. Vincent might be the best overall player in St. Victor. Stanley St. Victor might be one of the best overall players in the CTC. He comes in. This game last year, I was at this game last year. Okay? This game was a back and forth, wild ride. Northwest took over late and only won by 5. That was their closest game last year that they won. It was close. It was only a 5-point win.
The playoffs.
So, well, yeah, but the playoffs, it was 50-0. So that wasn't close either. But a 5-point win. This is a great matchup. You could have argued Bullard played better. They just got in their own way in that game last year. And they get Northwest United, who is playing pretty good. I'm going to go first on this one. Maybe Derek will text me if they win, because I'm going with the Workhorses. Ben is playing so well right now. A 40 touchdown pace at quarterback is pretty incredible. When was the last time a quarterback threw 40 touchdowns in a season in Connecticut? Michael Collins had over 50. That I remember. Summers, maybe? Well, no. Maybe David Summers. But, I remember Michael Collins threw for 50 in 2015. So anyway, I'm going to go with Northwest United on this one. I think they keep the streak alive. Sean, who do you got?
Sorry, Derek. This is going to be an easy one for me. I'm going to go with the Workhorses. Ben Roden is great. As you mentioned, been great. I've been really impressed. St. Victor's been great as well. They only scored 2 touchdowns against Cheney, so that's going to be tough. I'm going to go with the Workhorses. Why not?
All right. Staying in the CTC, we got ATI. They are 2-1. They're going to Thames River, who's also 2-1. Now, quickly, we talked about Northwest United's win streak. Thames River is 2-1. They have won 10 straight CTC games dating back to 2021.
Wow.
Okay, they played a couple of crossover alliance games last year, and they've played a couple. They have a couple on their schedule this year. They lost one of them earlier this year. But 10 straight CTC games. Could you imagine that Thames River and Northwest United have not played the last 2 years? Because that would make too much sense for them
hold
to
on
play.
A second. They did join the alliance now.
You would have thought two 10-0 teams from the same conference would have been scheduled.
I don't do the schedules, but it would make sense for them to play. Yeah,
exactly. But both teams are 2-1. Both of their losses came against non-CTC opponents in alliance games, and both teams have been scoring at a pretty big clip a game. This could be a high-scoring affair. This is going to be a long drive from ATI in Danbury all the way out to Grasso Tech. This is a long one. Sean, who do you like in this one?
Oh, man. I am going to – that's a long drive. You know what? I'm going with ATI. I think ATI has been playing very well against the – even – I mean, yeah, you're – let's lose to Brookfield. Brookfield's is a public school. But, like, I like ATI. I think ATI was a favorite. I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I, too, am going to go with ATI. I wrote their preview. Big, high aspirations coming out of this program this year. Thames River graduated a lot from last year's team. They're still talented, but Ryan Outlaw, Seth Cunningham aren't playing in this game.
Yeah, they don't play in that game anymore. Hey, quick thing with ATI, when you win your game, call your score in, please. We didn't get their score from O'Brien Tech until Monday morning.
Well, at least we got it. I'm still waiting for Fairfield Ludlow's box score from week 1. All right, yeah, so I'm going to go with ATI as well. I think we're kind of both in agreement. Even though the long drive, I think ATI is going to be fine. All right, we're going to the ECC, a pretty intriguing matchup, at least on my end. We got Griswold Wheeler coming in at 2-1, and they're always consistently they win more than 500 of their percent of their games every year, and they're going to go play Bacon Academy, who's 2-1. Bacon has 2 wins this year, which is more than they had combined the 2 previous seasons.
Yeah.
They were 1-19 the last 2 years combined. Here they are.
They haven't played
shout out.
Great, but...
No, they haven't, but you still have to win games. They didn't play anyone great last year, and they still, they still lost those games. So you got to learn how to win. Shout out to Bill Chafin, former SCSU football player, another former SCSU football player who's coaching in the state. He took over the program last year, and he's got them at 2-1. And that's all great and well and good, but I'm going with Griswold Wheeler here. I mean, I think this is the year they get over the hump and get back into the postseason. I've written about it. This is the year I think that they can get over the hump and get to the postseason. Sean, who do you like in this one?
I'm going to go with Griswold Wheeler too. I just think they're just their results so far. They lost to Wyndham, only 12-6. And Wyndham's not the team it was last year, but they did thump East Catholic and then Woodstock Academy. That was an impressive win last year, 41. I think Woodstock Academy maybe down a bit, but I think they're pretty good. I'm gonna go with the Wolverines because Bacon Academy, Bethel, Stonington. All right, that was a big loss. Stonington's better. So I know. I think this is a similar game. Griswold win.
Okay, we're gonna move down to the FCAC. This one, it's not like a crazy matchup, but this one intrigued me a lot. It's 2-1 St. Joe's going down to Boyle Stadium to play the 2-1 Black Knights. Stamford's one of the most intriguing teams in the state right now, and they've won 2 out of their first 3. Their game that they lost, they were tied with Greenwich going into the 4th quarter. And then they only lost by 2 scores. There's a lot of intrigue around this Stamford team. Then on the other side, you got St. Joe's. Lost the opener to Newtown. Have won back-to-back games. I saw them on Saturday against Notre Dame West Haven. Neither team could do anything on offense. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was a defensive battle. They just couldn't get anything done. It was a pick 6 that got St. Joe's going, and they scored a late rushing touchdown to make it 13-0. St. Joe's is young. They're starting a freshman at quarterback due to an injury. They're learning a lot on the fly. This matchup on paper, everyone's going to say, you got to go with St. Joe's. When was the last time St. Joe's, lost to Stanford? But I think it's a lot deeper than that. And, luckily, Sean, you get to go first on this one.
Oh, good. I'm picking Stanford. I'm going to pick the Black Knights. St. Joe in that game against Notre Dame, which we didn't even talk about on the regular podcast, but that's how bad it was. I mean, even Joe was wondering why we were there. I mean, you were there. He was telling me. Good job by them getting back. They're 2-1. That's not bad. But losing the quarterback hurt, lots of growing pains on offense. Stamford just looks like it's ready to just explode, And so far, so good for Donnie's team. At their turf, I think it's an easy pick for me.
I think it's an easy pick. Not only are you picking Stamford, but you think it's an easy pick?
Yep. You heard me. Easy.
Well, see, now you're making what I'm about to say not as interesting.
No hot dogs for
I was going to do this whole big thing and and then end it with, I'm going with Stamford too, but you took the wind out of my sails.
Hey, you're the producer. You got to set that up. You got to set it up so you get.
We went every other. We go every other. You should have.
It's like doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You have to set it up. You have to look at it and say, like, where can I do the most impact here? I need to go first with Stamford. So how do I set that up? That's your fault, not mine.
I'm the host and the producer and the editor. It gets very time consuming.
Yeah.
All right, so we're both going with Stamford. I thought that was going to be my one crazy pick after last week, but no. All right, we're going to go down. We're going to go to the middle state. We're going to go to the NVL. Crosby.
Joe Delvecchia might take Stamford.
We're going to go to the NVL. Crosby is 1-2. They're heading up to Bristol to play the 0-2 Falcons. Crosby's only win came against Derby. Derby won their first game last week for the first time since 2019. This isn't the NVL game. Oh, Naugatuck and Holy Cross and this and that. Like, these are two teams that are still trying to figure it out. Two young teams that are trying to get better. For me, it's kind of a coin flip, and I'm not going to get too deep into this game, but I'm going to go with Crosby. They have a win this year, so I'm going to pick them.
I had a whole thing about picking Crosby here, Pete. You took the win right out of myself. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs too.
Oh, all right. You got a second NVL game as well this week. Again, the NVL, CTC, they don't get a lot of love in the Alliance weeks. So, when you try to make it up, there are not really great games across other conferences. Excuse me. So we're doubling up on the NVL here. We got Seymour, 1-2, coming off a loss to Oxford. First loss in like 10 years to Oxford. They're going on the road to Municipal to play on Saturday to play Holy Cross, who's 2-1. Sean, you get to go first on this one. You saw Seymour this week. Can they get back in the win column?
You saw Seymour this week.
Yeah, but I'm doing the producing thing. Since you're picking first, I'm transitioning from me to you because you saw them on Thursday.
But you also you could say the colloquial. You could say we saw them. We saw them. What do you think? I think Seymour. It's tough because Seymour clearly has some kids. They clearly has some players. They should have beaten Oxford. That's a game we didn't talk about on the podcast. That's twice we snubbed the NVL the podcast, other than Ansonia. But I saw we both saw Seymour Oxford. Seymour had every right. They were in the game, but lots of mistakes. And I think they kind of got a little. They kind of turned the guns inward a bit there. They were kind of like pointing fingers at each other. And that's never a good sign. You guys are a team. You can't be pointing fingers at each other. Things go wrong. That guy might have not missed a tackle, and that guy might not have done his assignment right. But you got to accept that as a team. I don't know. And Seymour, and even Coach Mike Kearns after the same, is like, we got a lot of soul searching to do here. That said, can they turn around in 1 week against Holy Cross, which is itching to get back into the good graces of everybody else? At Holy Cross, I'm going to go with the Crusaders. I think that they're just, in a better mode right now. Yeah, they got smoked by Naugatuck, but I can see a lot of teams getting smoked by Naugatuck. I'm going with the Crusaders. I think they're pretty good. Seymour, I'd love to believe in you, but my confidence was shook last week when you guys, just kind of had turned the firing squad inward, in that game. So I'm going to go with Holy Cross.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Holy Cross too. I also was at the game on Thursday with you, with Seymour and Oxford.
Oh, you don't say.
I don't, yeah. And nothing Seymour did impressed me. So I'm going to go with Holy Cross. I think the Crusaders are going to improve.
I was impressed by the way Seymour was chirping at each other. That's what I was impressed with.
Yeah.
Get it together,
That's not going to help them. Yeah.
Get it together.
All right, we're going to go to the Pequot, and we spoke about this game a little bit earlier. You got Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook. They're 3-0, and they have the best offense in the state, scoring 154 points in 3 games so far this season. They are going on the road to Pearson Park, and they're playing Cromwell Portland, who's been one of the best, if not the best team in the Pequot post-pandemic. And the Panthers were supposed to be a rebuild, a down year, and here they are, 3-0, playing Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook, who's also 3-0. We picked Morgan last week. We picked the game. We both picked against them. Kevin chirped us a little bit, which we love. I'm picking first on this one. And I said it last week. Morgan's the better story, right? Morgan going 3-0 against Capital Prep. That would have been the better story. First year co-op, with my heart. I should have picked them and I didn't, and I picked Capital Prep. Here's the thing. I'm going to not do it again. I'm not picking with my heart again. I'm going with Cromwell Portland. I mean, Randall Bennett is one of the best coaches in the state, and if he's got his boys playing at 3-0, I don't think that's a product of anything but they're being a good team. So I'm going with Cromwell Portland.
I was going to go with Cromwell Portland until Pete picked them. You know what? I'm going with Cromwell. Listen, I think they've done a great job in Morgan. Kevin, we talked to on the podcast, does a great job there. And at Pearson Park, if this was at, Old Saybrook or wherever, at Morgan, down at the Peters Complex, I might have thought about going with them. Obviously, Nye's great. He's got some other dudes there. But, it's hard. Pearson Park is a house of horrors. And no one loves playing there more than Cromwell Portland does. I'm going to go with them.
This might be the game of the week. We're going to go down to the SEC. We got 3-0 West Haven traveling to Finn Stadium to play the 2-1 Shelton Gales. We've both seen. You haven't seen West Haven yet. No. I've seen both of these teams. Sean, you get to pick first on this one, so I'm gonna turn it over to you first.
Great game. Playmakers all over the place. Tinney, Wood, Dodge Licko on one side, and you had Marco, Eddie, Conlon, even Cam Kemp now running back. West Haven's got weapons, man, and you make a mistake against them, their speed and athleticism is going to make you pay. At Finn Stadium, this is a tough call here, but I'm going to go with West Haven. They're sitting there chirping at us. We're for real. All right, time to put your money where your mouth is. I'm picking you, and if you don't deliver and make me suffer through weeks of Shelton chirping back at me, then I'm coming after you. All right, West Haven? I believe in you now, West Haven, okay? I believe in you. This is the time. You're going up there. You want to prove it. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to put them all in on the Westies. At Finn Stadium, mind you. So, guys, better deliver. You got your ringer running back. And you guys got all the pieces now. Conlon's great at quarterback. Lots of weapons, some dudes. I think Shelton's been kind of a little bit accident prone. I'm going with the Westies. This is it. This is your time. Other than that, I'm not going to pick you again. So come through for me. Next game.
So I never pick West Haven. Yeah, I get to pick. I never get to pick West Haven. I never pick West Haven, and I always get it wrong. And they always like to yell at me about it. So I'm kind of torn here. Do I pick Shelton to keep it going? Because it's a good bit. I'm a big fan of bits as anyone else. But do I pick West Haven? And then if they lose, then I get to kind of clap back a little bit. Yeah. I've seen both of these teams. I'm gonna go with the Westies. I just think they are so talented from top to bottom. One guy you didn't mention was Armani Reed. I mean, he is so good, so talented. But it's hard to not forget someone when they have so many options, and that's what I think makes them extremely dangerous on offense and defense. So I'm going with West Haven.
The only problem with
as
West Haven,
well.
Pete, the only problem with West Haven, Pete, is there's only one ball. That's the biggest problem.
There is only one ball. All right, we're going to wrap it up. We got one more game down in the SWC. This game had a lot more interest last week, but both teams lost. It's Bunnell. They're 2-1. They're going to Masuk, who's 2-1, coming off a loss against Bloomfield, where they kind of gave it away. And, Bunnell got handled by Berlin. Bunnell wants to make the playoffs. Ty said it on this show. You got to win games against Berlin to do that, especially when you have Masuk coming up and then Newtown. The SWC is no cakewalk. Now they're kind of have their backs against the wall, going to Monroe to play Masuk. I'm going first on this one. And I'm taking Masuk. I don't know what the status of Klein is under center for Masuk. I don't. But I'm still going with Masuk. They're Masuk, and Bunnell needs to prove that they can play with teams like that. And after the loss against Berlin, I don't think they can. So I'm going with the Panthers and Jason Champagne.
I'm very tempted to stick. I'm tempted to go with Masuk too, Pete. The quarterback situation worries me. The coaching situation worries me. And I know in Bunnell, there still is that team that thumped Hand week 1. You're still there, guys, at the Surf Club. I don't think that intimidates them. I think they're going to take a long look in the mirror. I think they're going to figure this out. They still got dudes, Bunnell. They didn't all just disappear. That was a discouraging performance. And they better hit the practice. They hope they hit the practice. I'm going to go with Bunnell here. I think a lot of things are starting to catch up to Masuk, and losing a game like that, that's tough. But I'm going to go with Bunnell. I think two teams coming off a pair of losses, that's tough. But I'm just a little bit more faith right now in Bunnell to be able to bounce back.
All right. Well, if we can run through it really quickly, we both took Berlin in the first game over Wethersfield. We both took Northwest United over Bullard Havens. We both took ATI over Thames River. We both took Griswold Wheeler over Bacon Academy. We both took Stamford over St. Joe's. We both took Crosby over St. Paul. We both took Holy Cross over Seymour. We both took Cromwell Portland over Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook. We both took West Haven over Shelton. But in the last game, we went different. I took Masuk and you took Bunnell. So we're kind of in this together this week.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of getting this together. I mean, go Bulldogs. I mean,
to be fair, that doesn't happen often. We don't normally have very similar boards.
No, I mean, there are a couple I could have taken. I mean, I really thought about taking Morgan. I really thought about taking, I think that was it. Well, Thames River I thought about taking. Bullard Havens I thought about taking. But overall, I think I like my picks. Our picks, other than the last one. So we'll see.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. For Sean Patrick Bowley, I'm Pete Paguaga, and when I speak for the both of us, I say, go Panthers, right?
No.
Right. All right, we'll see everyone next week.